Oh, wow. That's right, this boy is almost as big as this Propel bottle. Hello everyone, and today I'm going to be showing you my custom Destroyer MOC inspired by the first Thor movie released in 2011. So before we get started, I just want to point out that this is not an exact recreation of the Destroyer armor from Thor, but this is more or less inspired by Iron Man's Uru armor from the comics, as seen on my phone right there. Just for a quick comparison, I brought in Molten Man from the Spider-Man Far From Home line of sets to compare with the Destroyer size. So right now, got him. Clearly, right off of the bat, the Destroyer is obviously way taller than Molten Man. When I first measured the Destroyer with one of the rulers that I had at the time, he was around 9 inches. Now, this may change when I add some modifications, if I add modifications as well. By the way, I do know his face is upside down. The first part that I want to start with are the legs, because they were the most difficult part to build. So after we take off the final part of the legs, you will come to find that they look pretty similar, don't they? And that is because they are, along with this entire build, based off of the War Machine mech, or War Machine Buster, that came in the Avengers Endgame line of sets from 2019. So the thing that I wanted to get down most with this build was the spikes all across its entire body. And I think I did that pretty well. A very good example of that is in the legs right here. One set of spikes, another set of spikes, one little spike, and the final set of spikes being right here. Besides that, there's really not very much going on with the set of builds, because most of the details, or main details, I pointed out already. The spikes. Something that I did build from scratch though, 1, 2, were these things. Now these things are just meant to make the overall build larger, in order to, well, just be larger. That's all these serve purpose for. There's not very much detail in them. If we combine this to this, we get overall a much larger leg. And now that we have these giant legs, it's time to reattach them to the main thick boy. Now looking at the right arm real quick, we can see that there are 3 sets of spikes right here, or cheese slopes. You got 1, 2, and 3, being the third one being in the light gray tone of color. Now moving up from the lower arm to the joint that allows the arm to partially move, we have this blue Technic piece inside of this light gray Technic piece. And this allows it to stop, and here, let me show you. This is what ends up happening when that blue point is not attached to the arm. It goes all the way back, and then, in the grand scheme of things, it looks way weird compared to everything else. From the joint to another joint, we have, we don't have anything really going on here. We just have an iron bar and some attachment pieces right here. And then when we move up the arm, we can actually see that we have one of those Bionicle pieces in dark gunmetal gray. Oh, right here. We have it just right here. Right here in the spotlight. And once we reattach it to the arm, boom, the arm is officially complete. And the other arm is the exact same, except it has a different piece for the end of the arm. Now, one of my favorite and easiest parts of the build, to build, the head. Now, the head itself isn't too complicated, but the way that it is attached to his chest, I quite like. So, because this is formerly the War Machine Buster, it has this folding part, so a pilot could go inside of the cockpit, which you can still sort of see. So what I did go ahead and do was I built a little, almost like a chest, like a starter chest. And whenever I will put in his head, it just has to attach to these bricks right here, these two studs, and snaps on like that. Fold that up, and then there it is, and it's nice and secure. Besides that, there's not really very many more details that I want to cover about this thing. The head, it's pretty simple. You have like these pieces right here as they work as eyes. You can fold these panels off to open up his mouth to blast things. Got that nice smooth transition to the top of his head. And finally, got his shoulders, which are just, let's take his head off real quick. You have nice little shoulder pads with spikes behind them right here. In the back, just take a quick look at his back. Boom, there's his back. It's not very interesting. So there you guys have it. That is my full overview, I guess, of my Destroyer MOC. If you enjoyed, leave a like down below and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It helps out the channel a lot. And that's all for now. Adios.